That might be
It's a
great,
sandbox. It's a soapbox. It's bandbox. Welcome to the Real Study with your hosts, MrSniDBitS,
I was pleasantly surprised.
BlackGirlMarvel,
I cried laughing. That was hilarious.
Tyler the Filmmaker,
It's like so much depth. It's like nowadays it's, you know, you got A shot, B shot.
all the movie things,
There's some great like wide shots in this.
Janine DeBean,
Each other. They just kind of look like they were having fun and doing their own thing.
produced by Hyena, and me, the Real Study movie voice guy.
But this was the first time where I got to see it like told in a way where I was like, oh man.
Let's go to the poster wall.
Hello and welcome to the Real Study. My name is MrSniDBitS, and with me, as always, is BlackGirlMarvel and all the movie things. Janine DeBean is off, celebrating her anniversary with her husband, so hopefully she's having a blast doing that. We will have her back next week. Tonight is going to be an all dystopian sci-fi evening with both Children of Men and Alita: Battle Angel. So follow us as we talk about those two movies. We, of course, have our Man of Steel debate / review that'll be happening very soon here in a couple of weeks. That'll be the final episode. I can't either. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a blast.
I just saw an old post for myself about this movie where I was like, I'm officially in love with Henry Cavill now. That's what I said in a post about this movie like 9 years ago or something.
Kevin Smith says he's the prettiest Superman. I don't think any of us can disagree with that.
He is the prettiest Superman. Absolutely. I agree.
But with that, we're going to move over to the main wall. We're going to hear from La about a little bit of social media, and then we're going to talk about a few other things.
Hey, folks, per usual, us here at The Real Study, we would love it if you would just follow us on all social media. That means the TikToks, the Instagrams, the Blue Skies, the Twitches, everywhere that you can see. We also put our review, like, accumulative like scores on Letterboxd, so you can follow us on Letterboxd as well to see films that we have reviewed and maybe give you some inspirations for some films we need to review, and you can then join our Discord and request said films. As always, we do have veto power. We never ever use it. I always say we watched The Room and we didn't veto that.
If anything, we just have a big list we can never get through because it's
absolutely, because it just keeps growing, which is always good because we always have something to pick from, and hopefully those films become on streaming, and it just makes it a little bit easier for us. But getting back to the social media of it all, if you cannot watch us like on YouTube or Twitch, like where we're at, you can go on any podcast platform and watch us. So that's Podcast Republic or Anchor, Spotify, Google, all that jazz. Remember as well to join us for the Real Arena. We have some great guests to come on there and have some great times. MrSniDBitS himself makes these questions. Hopefully he's dialed down the difficulty of these questions a little bit. Little bit. It's okay. But that makes the game fun. So join us over there for the Real Arena. We always have our champion go up against two other competitors, and it's always a fun time. Great questions. Some great fun. So right now I think Peyton is our winner.
He is the current reigning champion. He is the
current reigning champion right now.
2 episodes in a row. Oops, spoiler. Oh. It didn't happen.
Either way it goes. But
he dominates, yeah.
Or is he?
Right.
Or is he? Because who can dethrone if he is? But
I would love to have somebody come dethrone him and see if they can.
Exactly. It won't be me. I ain't that great. But
all right,
you can be amazing, folks. Just join us on all social media. Make sure you leave a comment, a chat, hit that bell, get notified, and join us. Back to you, MrSniDBitS.
Thank you very much. You got a Hush shirt on? Is that the Hush the movie? Or is that Hush something else? Okay.
This is Tony Baker, the comedian Tony Baker. He was here in Detroit, and I went to go see him yesterday, and he had his merch because he said, I'll just tell you, he says that like there's too many people chit-chatting about stuff that they don't need to be chit-chatting about. He just wanted everybody to hush. He said everybody needs to hush. He said everybody got microphones now and they just need to hush. And I said, yes, sir. So,
that is not untrue. Brian, you've got
as we talk on our microphones.
Heck yeah.
What do you
RoboCop.
got? RoboCop.
Come on, RoboCop.
Awesome.
Solid. Come on, solid.
Loving it.
I figured dystopian future stuff, RoboCop.
Right?
Good stuff.
And yet the cop's the hero, which I love. The one cop is the hero, not the rest of them. Well, maybe one of them.
Well, OCP is the evil corporation, so
right. Which,
but,
corporate cops.
yeah,
We need to do a
Hard
RoboCop on
pass.
here.
right.
I think 1 and 2 would be a great pairing because 2 is not as bad as people think. There's some great stuff.
Yeah.
In it. It's not
Oh,
as
yeah.
good as 1, but it
No.
still
Yeah.
has some solid
And
moments.
it's like
Um,
it's either just been released or it's coming out soon in a steelbook.
oh wow,
Nice.
So RoboCop 2 is
Just
and
in
as
case.
disturbing as 1 is, 2 has some even more disturbing.
Oh my
bits,
god,
so.
yeah. Oh my god, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's you're like, what?
Just in case y'all didn't know, all the movie things is our resident steelbook knower. Just knows when the
Completely.
steelbook is in the air. He just knows when it's
He's
about to come out.
yes,
like-
there's a steelbook coming.
He's
yeah.
like, oh, he's like,
Yeah.
and it's out.
yeah.
Yes, it's 4K. It's 4K, absolutely.
He, gets,
You know,
he
he
just
just
looks
knows.
at his email alerts because
Yeah,
he's
he
got
just
all
knows.
the
Yeah.
ends.
He got the Spidey sense for 4K. Is all I'm saying.
I
The
love it.
steelbooks.
It
That's all I'm
makes
saying.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Steelbooks.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So speaking of dystopian, okay, no, this is just satire. We have some
No, it's fine.
real news we're going to get to, so we'll move over to that.
Now it's time for the real news.
All right, so the real news, we've got Spaceballs 2 was announced, and of course, it had to already start out by making fun of every major
Oh my
sci-fi
God, yeah.
of any kind.
Yes,
For
sir.
the
Pretty
last
good.
35 years. And we've got Josh Gad, we've got Bill Pullman, Mel Brooks,
Rick
everybody.
Moranis.
Rick
Lewis
Moranis was
Pullman.
announced, and then Lewis Pullman
Lewis
as well.
Pullman.
Yeah,
and then,
like
Kiki
what?
Palmer.
Kiki
Kiki
Palmer.
Palmer.
Kiki
Ooh.
Palmer, yeah.
Great,
Oh my
great.
God.
Yeah, I'm so
Um,
ready. Yeah.
I've seen some diehard fans that are like, just don't screw it up. Which is,
I know,
that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, that's fair, but also let it be.
Well,
Just,
yeah.
Right,
just
if
let
they
it
screw
be.
up,
Because I feel like if they do screw it up, and to me, it's like it's a
Right.
satire. It's like
Right.
it's really for me to be really hard to screw that up if you're not hilarious. You're just not making. But like I feel like people put so much pressure on something like on a nostalgic movie that they love that they ruin it by doing that.
yeah,
And it's
there
not
is an
as
element.
bad,
You
and
put
it's
all
not
these
as bad as
expectations on it.
yeah, it's not
Mhm.
as bad as you think it is, but your expectation is so high
Yeah.
that when you do see it,
Episode
you're like,
1 had that problem.
but that's what it is,
Yeah.
right? Your
Oh, yeah,
expectation is so high. You think a thing is going to be a thing, and then when you get it, you're like, "This is not the thing I
Mhm.
wanted." But it's like,
Yeah. You're like already imagining scenes that you wish
Exactly.
Right.
were to
We've all
be in
done
the
that.
movie,
you
and then like,
add-
exactly.
yeah.
You're like, well,
You
watch it, and
add
they
what
do
you
the thing
want.
I thought of.
yeah. what-
I did this with the Matrix really bad. When the first Matrix
Oh.
came out, I had all these thoughts, and then when Reloaded came out, I was like, okay, so this is what's gonna happen next.
Right.
And I was dead wrong about all of it. So like,
Yeah.
So
You gotta
don't
let that
so,
go.
So to sum it
Yeah,
up,
you
do
just
not
have
hurt
to-
your own feelings. Okay,
No,
just
totally.
don't hurt your own feelings. Okay, just let the film come out and base it on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay,
I know, like with this upcoming Superman, I've been really trying to like stay away from even
Same.
like reveal of like certain merchandise and stuff like that. I'm staying away
Mhm.
from like I don't want because a lot of times spoilers come out just from merchandise reviews.
right?
Exactly.
So I'm like,
Especially
Oh,
comic book
I
movies,
want-
right?
this person is in
Yeah.
it because you see the
Right.
plush doll for it.
exactly,
You're like,
like, son of a bitch.
Now,
Like,
we can blame George Lucas for that because they
Right.
revealed Boba Fett being in Empire Strikes Back before he was ever in Empire
Yeah.
Strikes Back. There was a toy for him, and people were like,
Right.
"Who's this?"
Yeah.
like,
and
so
part
that
of me
was
is
a
like,
problem.
build the toy, right? And then when the
But
movie
wait.
comes out,
but just don't
boom,
Release the toy,
Yeah, exactly.
boom.
Don't do that.
Like that's how
early.
you do marketing, baby. Boom,
Right.
and you let it go.
but they don't want to. I heard a great take on somebody's thoughts on this film. What they thought was they should do it is actually the third film, but so as the second film doesn't exist, and so they have to
Yeah.
stop during exposition and be like, "So in number 2," and then like
Yeah.
That's
explain what
funny.
happened. I
Yeah.
agree. I thought that was a
That's,
great idea.
that's
So-
funny. But
It
how many
becomes
times are you
funny-
gonna do that though? You can't do it.
Right,
too
exactly.
much.
I mean, it'd be kind of a funny callback to the whole like, when they're scrolling through the movie itself to
Mhm.
that'd be I like that.
I think that's fun. I
I
think that's
do
a
too.
fun bit. That shouldn't
Yeah.
be
Yes,
the
a bit.
full.
It can't be the
No.
whole
Yeah, it can't be the
movie.
full
No.
movie, but it'll be a
Right.
fun bit if
That would
they
be
did
fun.
that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully, we are going to get Dark
Absolutely.
Helmet back. We're going to get Rick Moranis in a
Yeah.
movie for the
I-
first time.
Listen, that
in
man deserves
20
the
years.
world.
man.
Yeah.
Rick Moranis deserves the world. Give this man all the space balls he wants, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the balls.
All the balls. He deserves
Give
them.
him every ball, every single ball.
Space
Basketball,
All
balls.
right.
soccer
Sand
ball.
balls. Yeah.
You know,
Do
all
hit
the
us up
balls.
about what you think
Sand
about
balls could be
Spaceballs 2.
a
Are you
Dune.
excited?
Ooh, that could
Oh,
be a
yeah.
Doom parody.
Ooh.
Sand
Doom
balls.
parody. Sand balls.
Wait, isn't Star Wars just a Dune? Oh no, it's a Dune ripoff. I'm sorry.
Come on, there you go. Come on, man. Get it together, man. Get it together.
It really weirdly is because you get a lot of the same stuff. Spice is even in Star Wars.
See, that alone makes you want to like smack people in the face when they're like, everything's getting recreated and rebooted. That's the world of like movies,
right.
Like nothing's really original, really.
The reason Star Wars is popular is because he took Flash Gordon and he took Kurosawa and he took mythology and he kind of just mashed them together with a basic story about fascism.
Stories.
Right.
It's
a story about
genius,
space monks that carry light swords. Like
absolutely, yeah.
That's not that new. It's just samurais in space.
I mean, my first the full length screenplay I wrote in like film school was like just like that too, where it's like I took stuff from The Last Starfighter because I love The Last Starfighter. It's like all this stuff that I've seen in all these movies that I love, I'd like just sprinkle them out throughout this movie, so.
But I feel like that's like good writing, but also like you take inspiration from things that you really, really like, and you won't like take the whole thing because that's just plagiarism.
No, exactly.
That's just plagiarism, folks. But if you're inspired, like in Sinners, Ryan Coogler was inspired by Puss in Boots' Last Wish.
I know.
Inspiration comes from everywhere.
There's a little element of inspiration from Dusk Till Dawn in there as well, and
absolutely,
doing that same kind of layout. But I don't care. I thought it was so fresh. It doesn't matter that it was similar.
I know. That's the thing. Like he did it in a way. It was like,
and for me, it wasn't even similar.
It felt new. Like
it was just like.
Oh, I just meant the beats. Like it has the same beats. It goes through the same. Like here's a story about some people, and then here's the thing at the end. Same idea. Anyway, we have a couple movies we did watch that are, of course, not the two movies we're going to discuss. And I'm going to have Alon go ahead and tell us about this movie she saw, Burnt Toast. That's not what that movie was called. Materialists is
the movie. Yes. Dried toast. It's all uneatable. It's all uneatable toast, though. Burnt toast is a sequel. Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. Tell us about Materialists.
Universe.
And it's called The Burnt Toast,
The Burnt Toast, right?
Yes. For those that don't know, A24 came up with this film called Materialists. I'm sorry, it's just called Materialists. I keep putting the in front of it because I feel like that's what it needs to have. But it's just called Materialists, and it stars Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, Pedro Pascal. Oh, excuse me, I almost died. I put a review on my page. If anybody wants to go and support that, please do that. But I couldn't really say anything because I don't know what this film wanted to be, if I'm being totally honest. It had some very interesting. So briefly, Dakota Johnson is a matchmaker in New York, and she's a successful matchmaker, and she's celebrating her 9th wedding from her being a matchmaker. And in celebrating this, she meets Pedro Pascal's character, who is the brother of the person that got married, as she set up the woman with him. So they kind of have a nice little back and forth where she's kind of shutting down all advances. She's like, "You don't want me. Don't nobody want me. I'm good. Like we're good." But he makes his way in because, come on, Pedro Pascal. So the charm is off the charts. Come on, charming off the charts. And then Chris Evans is a former boyfriend of hers who, like, back before she was matchmaking, they were struggling actors together. And
interesting.
They were like this like poor couple, but she's always reached. She doesn't want to be a poor couple, and they break up because of this. In the course, she's successful. She has money, but she meets Pedro, who is like well beyond. He's like a private hedge fund manager or something like that. His money is long. Family has long money. But in the course of this, I don't know what this movie wanted to be. Okay, like it goes from her talking about her matchmaking to now she's having like conversations about whether or not she wants to be with Pedro, but it doesn't, but their life seems to be good together. There's no hint of it. It's listen, I want everybody to go see it because it's hard for me to explain this film. I really feel like there's some great, I will say this, there's some great social commentary about dating in the now.
That's what I've heard from like others too. That,
It's some great commentary about dating in the now, like when she's doing interviews with these men and these women, and it's men that's like, yeah, I'm looking for a woman that's just smart, she's mature. And the moment she says like, yeah, I got this 39,
right, yeah.
So it's like guys like that, but then it'll be women that
whatever. Oh yeah,
yeah, exactly. It'll be women that'll be like, well, he's 5'11". Is he 5'11" or is he lying?
yeah.
So it's some really good commentary on just like how we date, how we like. One guy was like, I don't care really what she does, she just has to be fit. She just had to look nice. She just has to be fit. So like it's an interesting commentary on just like people and how we date and how we, what we're looking for, which is just like the avarice of people. We don't look for what's internal. We look on what's external or what we can get from them. So like that was great commentary, but I feel like this film banked on these three actors being in this film.
Yeah.
I think they can bank on two of the actors. Sorry.
I mean, I've heard other. Well,
Dakota is the lead. Dakota is the lead. So they were banking. They were banking on her. She's the lead. This is her film.
Is she broody in it? Because if she's broody, honestly, it would work.
This is the most emotion I've seen from her in the film. Like if you saw Madam, something happened because. If you saw Madam Web and when she would cry, you couldn't feel anything. You're just crying because they told you to cry.
It just seemed like she didn't want to be there.
Exactly.
Movie, it's just like,
exactly. Yeah. So you can feel that in this movie. You can tell that she had a good time.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it's the actors around her. To some
I think so.
Yeah, probably. I mean, that is
because that can help. Because if the energy, if I don't get the energy from another person, or if we don't get along offset, it's hard to like. Be great on set, on camera type of thing. But I mean, I will say this is the most I've seen her emote. This is the most I've seen her like, because she's a matchmaker, she looks at everything like analytical, mathematical. So that's how she deals with relationships. She does with.
So is this like A24's Hitch starring Dakota Johnson?
Yes, in a way. Honestly, in a way, it's not funny though. It's not funny.
Okay, yeah. So I was going to ask if it was a rom-com, but it sounds like it's a drama about this.
It has like I wouldn't call it a rom-com, but I would call it like a romantic drama. Yeah, a rom-dram. Like it's like a romantic drama
with sprinkles of comedy.
Just like a little bit. Just because there has to be a little levity in it. But there's moments where like me personally, y'all know this. I like when characters have payoffs. I like when you set a character up and then boom, here goes the thing. Nobody in this movie has an arc. Nobody in this movie learns anything, and then if they did learn something, we don't see them learning it. It's just like epiphany.
That's indie and art house to a degree. Though. There are a lot of movies that are indie or art house that tend to just say, "Here's this moment in time," or "Here's this story about."
But I feel like some of those didn't necessarily work it better. But I feel like some of those work it better. For me, in this just didn't. And it's A24, so I was like, "Where's the twist?" And there was none. So I was just kind of like, "Oh."
Remember, they're getting a little big for their britches.
I was like, "Oh, they're doing this thing." But I would say, go see it. I want people to see it so we can talk about it. Not so much that it's a good film, but I want people
a good dialogue about a film is important.
But I think it's I think we can have a really good dialogue about it because, like I said, it makes some great points about social, like just dating and social commentary. But when it comes to the actual story, I don't know what they wanted to do. I don't know what they wanted. To me, I left the film going, what? So
that's
material list is out in theaters. Go see it. A24.
All right. I did get to watch some stuff this week. My wife and I have been going on this adventure through the Star Wars universe because after 20 years, I've been a Star Wars fan since I was a wee little child.
A wee child.
But I also kind of stepped back from it in my late 20s when I was like, okay, I think I've done this a lot for a while. But it also, I think, stemmed from the fact that my wife, my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, was, she was it's all right, whatever, it's okay. My wife.
I'm sorry. Anytime somebody says
that, so she was, she would watch them with me when they'd come out. We saw Rogue One and Solo and those in the theater, all the sequel trilogies in the theater. But she was always like, yeah, those were good. But ever since this year in our country has happened, I put on but Rogue One again because we watched it not that long ago here on the Real Study, and she was like, "Oh, oh shit,
right.
Can we start from the beginning? And I was like, hell yes, let's start from the beginning. Let's start over. And we just kind of went through episodes 1, 2, and 3, and I kind of filled in blanks or like, you know, a little bit of fun Star Wars trivia. Right now we're on Andor, which is what I'm leading into this. Now we're finally on Andor. This is my first time watching Andor. And I'm only halfway through season 1, but I wanted to talk about it already because even at episode 6 of season 1, this is pure Star Wars. Like, it is so rich in the Star Wars universe, and it is completely having the same commentary as every other Star Wars story does, which is completely anti-fascist. It is 100% trying to get the freedom back for the people or keep the freedom for people one way or the other, depending on where in the timeline you are. And Andor is interesting because every other series is about a Jedi or a Mandalorian or some other powered person, you know, with some kind of like high level something. And this is about the people. This is literally just about the people of Star Wars. And I think I've been craving this for a long time. Oops, sorry. While Cassian Andor is a great character and definitely worth watching, I think what's doing it for me is you get to see the origins of the rebel cause. You get to see people like Mon Mothma. You get to see all sorts of things that are behind the scenes that you would not normally get to see. And it fills in the universe. And it's so authentic. All the ships, everything. I'm just sitting there looking at little things going, oh, that's exactly the same, you know, good binoculars or monoculars that Luke uses in episode 4. And like, you can just pick out all these little fun things. And considering everything I've heard about season 2, I am racing to get through the season as fast as I can so that I can get to season 2. But even without it, even knowing what I've seen just in screenshots, this does the same thing. It's already making that point. I think in season 2, they just up the stakes and take it further.
Very cool.
If you haven't watched it and you like Star Wars, you got to go watch the show. And I don't ask anybody in this panel. I'll typically just talk about movies. I don't bring up TV shows on this show. But it's with Star Wars, it's kind of all one thing, and it's more like a couple minutes.
You don't have to justify it. It's okay to talk about TV shows. It's okay.
I don't see those TV shows though in the way that they're episodic.
But they are.
If you were to cut the credits off each one and it would just be like 7-hour movie. Like it would just
Yeah.
There's no. It's not like TV shows where you get to the end of it.
We don't have those.
No, I know, but most TV shows, like especially like 90s or 2000s TV shows,
for sure,
it would come to a head, and like the story for that episode could finish itself and move on. This is not like this one continuous story that never stops. Because even like Weeds would like leave you on a cliffhanger every episode, right? And things. I'm just like, you don't have to do that. I'm fine. Just okay, we're taking a break. Moving on to the next episode. So yeah.
But there isn't such a thing as a two-parter. They're steady. It's okay. It's okay.
Have you guys watched any Andor yet?
I haven't.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I had a feeling.
Yeah.
Brian did.
I'm on season 2, and so I'm getting through. So
you're in the middle of season 2?
Yeah.
Am I right to think that this is the same but amped up?
Don't tell him. Don't tell him.
Season 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
Okay.
I mean, I'd say it's amped up. I don't know if it's the same. I mean, it is like amped up, and there is like the stakes are, increased.
Ooh, give me a Pepsi. I want a Pepsi.
Yeah.
This is sugar-free 0, so I'm not sure you would want that.
I drink that too. Yes, I like Pepsi, sir.
Well, that's fair. I need the caffeine, otherwise I'll just sit around in a slump and be tired for too long.
I don't know if I can get to 24, man. I heard 24 it's a good TV show, but I don't know if I can watch it. I don't know.
It was an interesting concept, and season 1 was really good, but I think after that it was like, how fast can we up the stakes? I was like, whoa, slow down.
Within a day.
This is one day. In season 2, I'm like, what are you doing? This is day 2, and he's cutting people's heads off. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It gets kind of nuts pretty fast. Okay. Season 1 though, I think is worth watching, and if you like season 1,
you might continue this like season 2 and everything like that. Have you guys seen The Pit? I just need to know, like TV.
I haven't. I've heard good things though.
I need y'all to watch The Pit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
heard it's basically
so
a realist,
I've heard it was pretty
medical drama that
it's really good. Like I like the concept for it, of it being like, this is an hour in
yes,
a day.
yeah.
So it's like 24 in that way.
So it's like so it's like a full shift,
shit.
but
Okay.
each episode is an hour, and it's like so like the first episode is like it's 11 a.m. and then the next episode is 12 p.m. and then the next episode is 1 p.m. and so like it goes like that. It's so
and so they look more tired in like episode 4.
Oh
or 5.
man, Noah Wiley look like he man, it's really good.
I've always dug that guy.
And
I really love that
what's
guy.
his name? The guy who the father from Malcolm in the Middle, Bryan Cranston.
Bryan
Cranston.
His daughter is in this show.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it was his daughter, and she was like my favorite character. And I was like, who is this girl? I was like, who is this girl? And I looked her up and I was like, no way. This is his kid. She's a phenomenal actor. She's a Nepo baby that deserves to be a Nepo baby.
Well, see, I'm so glad you said it just like that, because I wanted to bring this up because Meg Ryan got really steamed at people for what Jack Quaid has been going through. And I'm like, look, Meg, nobody said he's not amazing, because we all agree he's great.
Right.
It's how he gets the opportunity to show he's great that we don't like. Right. It's never that we don't believe some of these people have talent.
Yeah.
You don't. The mainstay doesn't happen. You don't stick around if you don't have talent.
Right.
Look at Tori Spelling. She did not stick around for a reason.
Exactly.
So I know it's an old
reference. Like
it was a 90s
right. That's a great reference though. Like that's a solid reference for me. Like this person. That was a great reference. But like they didn't start in the muck like the rest of us. Like they're not. They have connections that we don't have. You are a Nepo baby, and you know what? Wish I was one, but I'm not. But it's good. Like if you a Nepo baby, it's not bad, baby. If you got talent, if you a Nepo baby with no talent, then that's when you might want to be mad. But if you a Nepo baby,
do the work.
Exactly.
Right. Take
you
it
just gotta,
and
then maybe spread some of
and
that
then we'll love you.
to some other people.
Look at Michael Douglas. Michael Douglas is one of the most beloved actors of all time, and he's a Nepo baby.
Yeah, and he's like done.
All love him.
I mean, he's incredible.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
So it just depends on how you do it. So Meg, we love you. We don't hate your son
at all. Nobody
we don't like
does.
Nepotism. There's a different thing.
Yeah.
Not that she'll ever.
I just think back then, like we call it nepotism now, but I think back then they were just like it's legacies.
Legacy is another word for it.
Yeah. So they want legacy back. No, thank you. It's nepotism.
Right.
Speaking of nepotism, oh no, that's the wrong thing. Speaking of dystopian, dystopian was the word I was looking for. We are going to move on to the 2 movies that we have selected for this week. Me and La just randomly selected 2 sci-fi movies that both weirdly lined up in a lot of ways. But that's sci-fi for you. Sci-fi is dystopian, and then you just add another subgenre onto it, whether they be mystery, drama, whatever. But there's always some element of to sci-fi. But the first movie we're going to talk about this evening is going to be Children of Men. This is a Clive Owen film, 2006. Also starring
Alfonso Cuarón. I love it.
Alfonso Cuarón. Based on a novel that I didn't even know was based on a novel until today when I started looking up facts on the movie. But this takes place in 2027. And nobody can have babies anymore. In fact, it's celebrated when they have particularly the youngest person on Earth.
The youngest person, yeah.
Also,
there's this layer of like their. I mean, you hear like a lot of stuff going. It's all in the background, but it's also part of the world. There's a lot of like illegal immigrant stuff going. Like they're like they want people to like turn in the illegal immigrants.
Yeah. This is very timely. This was like futuristic. Crazy. I was like, our world could be this
2027. Like
for sure, like man. I was like,
in 2 years.
Now, to be fair, for the age of the kids, that means it was like 2006, which is weird.
Yeah,
that's when the movie came out, and the movie was like, might happen this year. Is kind of what they were hinting at.
Yeah.
Brian, had you seen this one before? I assume.
Yeah, I've seen this. Okay. Yeah, a few times. Yeah,
I have as well. So, La, I would love to hear your thoughts on your first time with Children of Men. You'd think it might have been your first time.
But we gonna say it's my first time. We gonna say it is because when I watched it, there you go. Because I was like, I was like, and I usually remember when I see stuff, but I guess it didn't at the time. It didn't hit because I was like, 2006. I think I was like 18, going on 19 or something like that. So, like. I wasn't paying attention to this film the way I probably should have. So so it's pretty much new to me. I like Clive Owen. I always thought he was a great actor. So like I was happy to kind of like dive back into a Clive Owen flick. Julianne Moore, can I just say this about her? In the start of her career, baby girl got killed a lot, and or she only had like a few scenes in movies and stuff like that, or was just like a feature player. When I say she come to work and she does her job, I dig Julianne Moore. It makes me want to go back in her filmography and watch more of her stuff, because
she's great.
I feel like she's a solid actress that shows up and does her job and does it well, and I dig that.
She's also really funny. Evolution.
She is
phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
No, but she is a funny character.
Big
Lebowski, exactly.
Big Lebowski.
So like, it just makes me want to go back and just like kind of like run through her filmography and just see more that she's done, because she's a like, anytime I've seen her, I've never been disappointed. I've always been like, she okay, all right, Julianne, like you did that over there. But overall, I thought this film was a really good film. I found it very interesting that it was so close to where we are now in 2020 2025. I was like, I can see this happening in our world, and honestly, we're kind of going in that trajectory. We're pointing that way with how like everything's becoming like militarized, and how like, you know, people are becoming desperate and just wanting like certain freedoms and certain liberty. Like, it's just, so watching this film was like, yo, I need a gun on me at all times. Like, I need something with me at all times, because like we're going that way. But I find it interesting, like in this film, they specifically, people were talking about like, no kid has been born in 18 years, and they kind of blamed women for it, and was like, well, what's going on with women? What's going on with their bodies? And I was like, oh, it could be can it be all of us? It could be all of us.
Let me tell you this. In the book, it was men could not produce sperm. So that was changed for the film. So that got
changed for the film. See, I would.
No, they didn't say why. They just said women were infertile. No, I'm not.
No.
Right.
But they didn't say why. And that's another thing too. I don't like obscurity like that. I would have loved to dig a little deeper into like, was it a virus? Was it a? But interesting enough, they had a pandemic. In the film, I said, "Wait, yes!" I was like, "Oh my god, it's the future!" It predicted
and that movie
future.
was sci-fi. Does this all the time? Sci-fi looks to the future and says, "What maybe?"
I was like, "Did Matt Groening write this? Because this is too spot on." For all those who don't know, Mike Groening created The Simpsons. The Simpsons predict a lot of things in the future. Just in case
predicted a lot of things.
Just in case. But
I think it's because it's a mathematical statistic thing that if you talk about everything, sooner or later,
that's true.
That's true. That's what The Simpsons does.
Absolutely.
It's like South Park. Eventually, they'll get something.
Oh yeah, totally. But
you're like, oh, they were right. Like, okay, that's nice. But I thought it was really like, I don't know. I felt like every actor hit what they were supposed to hit. Chiwetel Ejiofor is always a villain in something. I said, I didn't know he was always a villain, bro. But he did.
When he's a good guy, though, he's a really good guy.
Good guy. No, actually, but when he's a villain, he's a really bad villain. Like he's always like like right there, and I dig that about him. I thought everybody did very well, but I said this in our chat. I said that I find it very interesting and telling that the first woman to become pregnant is an African woman, like a true African woman. And she gave birth to a woman, like she gave birth to a girl. So it's like the restart of this civilization is from a Black woman. It's from an African woman. And the start of like this whole thing is a baby girl, is a Black girl. Like to start off it's just because like, in history, they say that everybody started in Africa, right? Yeah. So to have this film, like, okay, the Earth kind of reset itself in a way, and I find that very interesting, very telling. There's so much layered underneath there that I could talk about that we don't have time for. But I was like, interesting, absolutely. I was like, interesting, and she's also like, and then she also felt like an innocent. Like woman, right? Like even though she is of this world, she was a prostitute because she was like, I don't know any of these wankers like names.
Innocent? She wanted to name her kid Froly. I'm just saying, is she really innocent?
The thing is too,
that
like
makes her interesting.
There haven't been babies for so long, like there's no like education around it too. Like she didn't know what she was supposed to do.
She just knew she was pregnant. Like she didn't know, and like because she grew up in a world where like nobody got pregnant. Like this didn't really happen, and so.
And she's the age, like just a little older than the oldest kid.
Right. And I find that interesting because it parallels with our world with like, there are kids today that are so desensitized by certain things because they're inundated with it. Right. So it's like nothing can like faze them. Nothing is serious. Nothing, because look at all the things that I deal with. Look at all the things that and I think I read somewhere, or no, I heard it like on a podcast or something like that they said that like your grandparents, the information in which your grandparents got things, we get it at a higher rate, like 100 times that. So just and faster, right? Like what they would get from like the radio, we get from a newspaper, and like the information is crazy what we can get in the newspaper as opposed to what they got. And then now, as social media grows, the way we process and get information is just like off the charts.
It's
so
instantaneous. It's the moment it happens. Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like
anything our grandparents
like you're not fazed by these things anymore. So to watch this film and watch people like, yeah, there's things happening, but like a lot of people weren't fazed. Like the guy was walking to work with his coffee while walking past a cage full of people. Because he wasn't like, this
and he was
is
more
life.
Concerned with the dog that he had to deal
with.
Like
he was like it. So it was just such an.
I mean, he got literally kidnapped in the middle of the street,
and nobody did anything.
With all these people,
and nobody did anything.
Nobody did anything.
And it was just like to see a world where like this is literally like the world we're living in, and close to like. What it's going to be
any of these people individually
if we keep going,
right? We keep going. Like this doesn't feel so futuristic as it probably did back then. It feels so heavy now. So like, this was a great. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. It's a little heavy. Also, the fact that I like the director. This is a great film for him to direct because he directs, I believe, Prisoner of Azkaban, like Harry Potter, Prisoner of Azkaban, and that's a very dark, sullen. So like that's kind of like his. He's amazing. That's like his bag. And can I just say, and I'll just end with this, Michael Caine.
I know.
Michael Caine.
So good, man.
He's so good at this film. He is so good at this film.
Pull my finger.
I love the pull my finger. And then of course I'm about to pull my finger.
He was it was just nice to see that like even in this like dystopian like twisted world, there was still people that were genuine, like him and like what was her name, like Mariska, I believe her name
was amazing.
Like you couldn't understand her language, but you understood her, and I think that was just like beautiful.
She understood what needed to
what needed to be done. And it's just like it felt like a savior type of movie, like when she had the baby and every like ceasefire happened and people were like letting her go because like you don't see this anymore. So it was like a miracle and somebody touched her. It was just like it felt very biblical at that point. This was a really good film. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So good pick, Smitty. Good pick. I'm proud of you.
I pick them the best.
I'm proud of you, man.
I gotta give it to Alfonso.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to touch on that, and then I'm going to hear from Brian. But you had mentioned how you wanted to know why the infertility happened. Specifically, Alfonso Cuarón said, "I hate that kind of shit in films. I do not like exposition. I want an exposition-free film, and this is one of those types of films. They layer it in." And leave it for you to figure out.
I get that.
If you're not listening to the background, you can.
Exactly. Like I really appreciate that because that can really drag a film down. It's like suddenly we got to stop, and there's this dialogue heavy exposition. Because we're not trusting our audience, to be smart enough. You know what I mean? It's like, but at the same time, I do get like having a little like.
I like the
detail or background.
I like the science of it. I think that's me. I don't want. I don't need no speech about what happened.
Well, with this film though, I encourage you to watch it again because there's a ton of stuff in the background.
Yeah,
not only on the radio, on the TV, newspaper clippings. Pictures,
there's like posters on walls and stuff like that. And like,
pause it whenever something's written
like,
and read it.
Like,
okay.
It's just
Ooh,
So,
okay, gotcha.
So did you see this one in theaters, Brian, when it came out in 2006? Because I did. So I was curious.
I don't think I did. I don't think I did, but I did see it relatively soon after. It came to like didn't have streaming back then, but good old DVD. Like,
hey, come on.
That's right. But and then I've seen it subsequently like multiple times since then, and it's like it's also shot by one of the greatest DPs of our time, Emmanuel Lubezki, who is pretty incredible. He's stolen a couple of Oscars from Deakins, but that's okay.
Got to spread them around, right? Get them to the people that deserve them.
Right.
So you saying that Deakins didn't deserve him when he got nominated?
No.
Is that what you're saying? What you trying to say?
If you always give it to Deakins, then it won't mean anything.
No, Deakins slander, man. If he deserves it,
the thing was like Deakins had been nominated multiple times and hadn't won. He didn't win until Blade Runner 2049.
Oh wow!
So the best kid won.
But I see why he won
for that. Yeah, right.
Ooh.
Yeah. But anyway, so it's a great there's some incredible like oneers in this one. I mean, the opening scene is a oneer. You know what I mean? And the thing too I love about this opening scene is like first is black, right? And you just hear the news,
Yeah.
And then suddenly like it just like slams onto the scene in this like crowded coffee shop and everyone's just like glued. It's also a great like character introduction because everyone's glued to the TV and Clive Owen's character is the only one concerned about getting his damn coffee. He doesn't care really about what's going on. He kind of knows, it's like, okay, whatever. He's also kind of like not really, he's not really understanding or doesn't really care that he's kind of frustrated actually that everyone's so connected to this young man dying, and he's just like totally
baby
not
Diego.
affected by it. Like, yeah, baby Diego. But anyway, back to this opening scene and why I love it so much. It's all a oneer. It's all handheld too. So we get this great shot of like inside this crowded coffee shop. Then we go out and then we immediately go out and to the right. So then it turns into this great establishing shot. So we get a bigger sense of the world, still handheld, and you kind of see, okay, this place is like messed up that we're in right now. Like you can kind of tell it's future without even like paying attention to the year that they display. And then we go back, to Clive, and he's just like another great character moment where he's just out in the open pouring some alcohol, some hard liquor into his coffee, like not even trying to hide it, and then we come back around and then suddenly this explosion happens. Like what a way to open a movie. I mean, it's so good. I mean,
I was hooked when I saw that.
Yeah.
I was like, where is this going?
Yeah,
where could this possibly go from here?
Yeah.
A couple interesting tack-ons to that because I did some trivia research. This is like my 10th time seeing this film, but I try to space it out because it's not one I want to overwatch.
No.
The scene that you're talking about when they show Clive Owen with the alcohol, there's a building called the Spear that is in the background that was not built yet, but would be by 2027. So they decided to digitally add the building.
Nice.
So that it would
that's
be
cool.
An absolutely good background. And not only that, the bombing that they did in this scene took place only 2 weeks after an actual bombing in UK, in London. So they were like 2 weeks later. I couldn't imagine being a citizen of London and then
listen. You better put out a bulletin. You better put a public service announcement about this about to happen because I would be shook if that happened again.
Right.
Yeah,
totally
I would
agree.
be shook.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on the narrative of the film, Brian?
Yeah, so like it is kind of crazy. Like when you watch it, around the time when it first came out, you're like, oh man, that's like such a crazy thing. Like that would, happen, and like all these other elements, with like the immigration stuff happening around them, and these like factions kind of like forming, and you kind of don't really pay attention to that stuff because you're like, no, this is just dystopian sci-fi. The thing you're more focused on is like the through line of just the main plot of him trying to like do this thing and like take care of this young woman. But then you watch it like subsequently, like each time you watch it, it kind of becomes more real and more real. And now here we are thinking like there's so many elements in this that are like, oh man, this is, I mean, not just the time frame that we're in now, like physically, literally where we are in time, as it's only 2 years from now, but also just so many elements in it that are kind of scarily happening right now, that are, and in the film though, it's like stuff that's playing around in the background. There's a lot of immigration, kind of like gross immigration stuff happening. There's a lot of like cages and fencing that we see up around in the background, like, and that's another great thing about this film that like Alfonso Cuarón kind of does, and like we kind of just alluded to a second ago, where he like lets all that stuff kind of play out and lets us try to like, which I also think to his credit, it also lends itself to being rewatchable.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just like there's all these little details. You know, yeah. And I love that like he's like this reluctant hero. You know what I mean? Like he does not. He kind of is just like this beaten down guy. I mean, he tries to use the whole like Baby Diego death as a way to like get out of work. Like holy shit.
I'm so distraught.
Yeah.
Can I go home?
Like damn. And he does not care. You know what I mean? Like so the fact that like I mean his character arc is really great. You know, he kind of like comes to it, you know, eventually and becomes this like, okay, we have to. It's part of its self-preservation too, because he like overhears that conversation, you know, when those guys come in.
Yeah, and like him dying, they gonna kill him and everything.
Man, yeah. So it's partially self-preservation, but also he knows the part of it's to like this promise he made to like Julian and everything.
Right. And then her dying.
Even leaves barefoot, right? He's doing all that barefoot.
Yeah. Like that whole like a lot of that stuff too is like again, that's a oneer.
Right. With that shot and him like stopping and then she like start the car like we're like like pushing the car.
I love that he's like wait until it goes faster.
Exactly. It's such a real thing.
Real moments.
It's like all those things just added to the tension of that whole scene too. You're like
that scene was tense. Well,
also it's like
the previous
he's really good at stealth. I didn't know he was that good at stealth.
Oh man,
like to be that quiet. Man, I would have got shot immediately. I am not that quiet. Like he was so quiet. Like the way he opened up the door, got the keys, closed the door, and he was right there in the window and didn't notice any of this. I was like, how are you this? I need him to play my video game.
He had good roles
too, right?
He had really good roles.
Yeah.
No,
but also
go ahead.
Like another, you know, moment that like everyone loves is the camera inside the car rotating scene. Another genius, like the whole. I mean, I've like looked at the behind the scenes of that thing like a bunch of times because it's. I mean, that's just Lubetsky, you know, right there, just being a genius, and that whole scene is like I can't imagine the timing of all that stuff coming. You know, some of it's digital, I think, in there too, but also like a lot of it's very real. But just it's just so good. Like just this crazy
Julianne Moore in that scene. I believe
like you're not expecting that. Like you think you see Julianne Moore, okay, she's gonna be in this. You know,
it's right, and then boom,
she's in this whole movie, and then
and then boom, and then like to me that makes him even more kind of like meh, because you could see like that fire burning again between the two of them, and it possibly something could have
was such a beautiful.
Like I think he had some expectations, so did she, type of thing. Like I felt like
I thought they were gonna get back together.
Absolutely, no, absolutely. But I also want to just throw in real quick that I love that like Alfonso Cuarón like directed this, and it's dark, and like Pam Ferris is also in Prisoner of Azkaban as the aunt. So it's just like I was like, I wonder if they high fived each other when they saw each other. Like, hey, what's up? Children of Men, remember that? I just thought that was pretty cool.
Funny, but I mean, so many great things about this movie. It's just, it's just a really well made film.
Speaking about what you were talking about with background, and you were talking about those elements you picked up on it time and time again. And, you know, as a person who studied politics, college and whatnot, seeing the element of almost every type of agenda being represented in the film, I thought was really interesting. Where you have some people are like, we have to tell people the baby's real. We don't want to tell people. You know, Clive Owen's like, get her to a doctor. What do you guys just get her to a doctor? You know, which was insulting to the midwife. You know, because like she was in that service before. She knows what she's doing. They had the right person for that job. But you know, everybody had their agendas, and then when you find out Chiwetel and all those folks, you know, are evil, I start to think, man, these are not the right extremists that the government is and the cops are, and we find out they're liars because we see what they advertise as what happened, which is what we saw.
What happened, right?
But then you have Chiwetel being an extreme leftist who's willing to go to violence and kill people in order to get his agenda pushed forward, and so it's really showing that like.
He's like the Saw Gerrera of this world.
He really is. But I'd say more aggressive and violent to some degree. They were willing to go to whatever ends they needed to, including killing their own to get it done. They even allude to that earlier with Julianne Moore, where they're like, "Yeah, we used to bomb everything, and then after that bombing, we stopped because you know we wanted to stop doing that." This movie is all the elements of the dystopian, some reality for some people in our world where you can see a through line, as Brian discussed, but there's also that kind of, is this religious? Is this, there's some religion, you know, peppered in there, and you can tell that Key maybe believes that this is for greater reasons than just she just got pregnant. Her midwife definitely is like tapped into the hooey, right?
Yeah, that UFO
she's
scene.
Really into the,
that
she
UFO
likes the Tai Chi and various things.
Did he really see a UFO? Like, she was really into
I know,
it.
she was like, she didn't want to know more about this UFO.
Exactly.
Yeah, so funny.
So yeah, you've got these characters in there, and then the idea that all the imagery that you were talking about, it really does have this like, not Virgin Mary, but almost Virgin Mary-esque feel. Because it would feel like a miracle. If you were on the ground, you'd be like a baby, and who wouldn't reach out to touch a baby? You haven't heard one in 20 years.
Even to touch, or even to touch the mother of that baby. You know what I mean? It felt very much like Jesus walking to the cross.
People were stopping, right, and like looking at the baby, and then getting back to what they were doing, and everybody would. That scene at the end, which is also, it's a stitched oneer, because there are a couple of moments where they stitch things together a little bit digitally. But the whole going through the refugee camp to the building, up the building, and then back down again. And I love the baby coming out. All of that is super powerful. But there's this key moment where Chiweedle's trying to protect, you know, her.
I think you did there, sir.
Did I do so? I didn't. Did I do a pun? He's trying to protect the baby and Key, and is talking to Clive Owen's character about a key moment. There you go. I didn't catch that. He's trying to protect the baby, but also trying to reason with him why what he's doing is justified. And he says, I thought it could bring peace, but really it's just going to bring violence. And then they leave, and immediately he's dead wrong.
Yeah.
It brought peace. Like for that moment, only for a moment, until the moment's gone. Sorry, I had to throw that in there. That was a terrible pun, but it's very powerful. And I think it's something that could take some people from just thinking the world is shit to believing. I think there would be some, not just hope, but also like there could be some kind of cult built around the new baby.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Oh my god. Oh yeah.
Let's think about it. They say that like what's the little saying? Like the children are our future, right? The children are our future. And so you see, in a world without children, there is no future. So now with this baby being born, babies bring like hope. And like, you know, that's why everybody's like, you should get pregnant. The kids are the best thing in my life. When I had a kid, they opened up the doors. I didn't see life the way I see life now without a kid. Like that does hit for a lot of people. And to have a world where like you are joined with people, or you come together and nothing really bursts or blooms out of that, like that can remove the hope. And think about parents who like try to have babies and they can't. Like that brings a depression and a sadness. And then think about that on a global scale, that nobody can have kids.
Right. Like, add to that the government says if you do not submit to fertility testing, you will be arrested. So you like you have to like also just show that you're infertile over and over and over again. Depressing. Then so they give suicide kits. We didn't even talk about the suicide kits.
Yeah, the suicide kit, which I found that was interesting. I was like, whoa, like
they know that people are that screwed.
Exactly.
If you're ready, here you go.
And that's a smooth way to make it so that the world is gone for sure. If you just give people suicide kits.
There's an element again that was in the book that is it's established in the film but never spoken about. There are a ton of critters, a ton of animals in this movie, whether it be dogs or cats. Yeah. There's a little kitten crawling his leg.
Which they kind of like show some of that in the film, you know? Like
they do.
But the
like
reason that there's animals is that the in the book, nobody has kids, so they need a surrogate. And so they all have animals as a surrogate.
Yeah.
So now, so the whole time I was watching this movie, my brain kept going, why do these animals like him? Because animals kept following him. I'm like, why do these animals like him? So you saying that shows me that if they're using like these animals as like surrogates for like kids, we all know that animals like who they like. But also if he was a father, so he has the air of like, so all of these like kids are like attracted to him, and that's just all over him because they're like, he's a like a calming spirit. He's a dad, like because the guy was like, wow, they like you and they don't like anybody,
right?
You know,
well, like even at Jasper's place in that first scene in Jasper's, he's like just relaxing on the couch, like just petting away this cat that's right next to him, just chilling next to him. So
also it was a little aggressive the way he was petting that cat.
Yeah, he was. I know he was really.
He was a little stoned, right? He said it was strong stuff.
Clive,
the cat didn't seem to mind.
No, so the only animal that didn't like him in the movie was the fascist dog. So like that kind of makes sense. He's fascist dog didn't like him. Yeah, no, this movie is so layered. Like we could keep literally. I think we could keep going. There is one more thing I wanted to mention that I thought was interesting. The scene where we see Key being pregnant for the first time in the barn. Yeah. Amongst all the cows is such an interesting visual moment. And I don't really know what I feel or what I think about the moment. I just know that I think
it felt very Garden of Eden to me. It felt very.
That's kind of
because it was like she had greenery. It was life around her, right? It was life.
The life
around her.
That's a great way to put that.
It was life around her, and when she stripped herself and she was bare, showing that she was carrying life, it felt like the Garden of Eden. It felt like a biblical take.
I like that.
In a way.
I don't know. That
I think also too, there's the kind of the juxtaposition of like what she talked about, right? Just like kind of right before that about what they do to the cows.
Yeah,
which is like terrible because like
it could be her own fear of what could be done to her because
exactly. Yeah.
She's like a chattel. In a sense, she's carrying something that the world hasn't seen or want or needs or however
but
it is.
They want to take away.
Right. Well, actually, that's a perfect transition back to the fact that they wanted fertility tests for every single person. Imagine being the woman that the English government finds out is fertile and you're in their possession. Now you are their possession.
Right.
She would not have a freedom. They would experiment on her.
She would be a living incubator, and they would have tore her to pieces. And also her being African, even makes it even deeper, seeing as how like a lot of Africans were a lot of Black people were experimented on like throughout the years, throughout the ages, stripped of their skin, bone, blood. There's no telling what they would have did to her to make it so that every woman could be like fertile again. Like she would have lost her life, and possibly her child would have like lost their life as well for the betterment of like the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and rate this movie then, since we have talked about some pretty great stuff. If you want to watch Children of Men and discuss it further, there is so much to be done. You could make 25 TikTok videos on this movie.
You can rent it on
alone
Prime for like $3 or some change if you want to go. Or Wi-Fi.
You can, absolutely. And I think it would be worth giving this movie some more money still. I think that the filmmakers could benefit from that. So let's start with Law. What did you rate Children of Men?
Children of Men gets an 8. It was really good. It was a solid film. Rewatchable. Just I dig that heavy.
I can't wait till you rewatch it again 6 months, a year from now, and then look for all those little extra things. Really fun.
No, I'm excited for that, for you guys to like you guys open my mind about that because the thing, like, I don't want to be spoon fed anything, but again, like I said, I love the science talk. I love the to me that's like lore and like a world building just to add to pepper that stuff in. So that's great. So I'll definitely I'll look behind the picture now. You know what I mean? Instead of looking at the foreground of it.
I love it. Brian, what do you rate?
It's a 9 for me. So.
Solid.
Nice. Very, very good score.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the cinematography is a big part of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like
everything. Yeah.
I mean, it's just like I mean, someone mentioned in the comments that Aina mentioned that it kind of feels like it switches like documentary style. That's all that handheld stuff, like, and it just adds to like a lot of the like immediacy of some of the scenes and the tension, because sometimes it's like pretty smooth, and then, but a lot of this film is kind of handheld, which I'm kind of a fan of myself anyway. So it
almost makes you feel like you're there, like that you're walking along with them.
You're walking with these people. Yeah,
absolutely. For myself, I'm going to go ahead and give this a 10. I gave it a
10. I knew it. I said it.
This is actually one of my top. It's listed on my top 100 films of all time.
Yeah, buddy.
I adore this film, but I also adore sci-fi. So
can I change my score?
What?
Can I change my score?
Sure.
I want to add a 0.5. I want to add a 8.5.
There you go.
Because I want to give it an 8.5 because just thinking about like the picture of the world, this world looks very lived in. It looks very dirty, grimy, and
the school.
This, like a history. It's so like murky and muddy and like I know it was hard to get it to look like that, to keep it that way.
Yeah.
So like it was just like the greens were really greens, but the darks were really dark, and it was just like it's beautiful. So yeah, let me add a 0.5 to that. 8.5.
There you go.
By the way, if you are a connoisseur of said thing, Strawberry Cough is a real strain. If you ever want to go find it out there, that is really in the movie and it's a real thing. So anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there as my last little snidbit, if you will.
Yeah.
All right. So that's like a 9.25 or something like that. Sits or like a 9. I don't know. It's somewhere in there. It's gonna be a high rating. So please
let Hannah handle that.
Yeah, I know. I tried to math in my head.
Doing a lot right now.
So we're gonna move on to the next movie. This one was Lala's pick. This is Alita: Battle Angel, directed by Robert Rodriguez, starring. Oh boy, how did I forget his name? I'll wait for it to come up. I'm gonna cheat. Starring Rosa Salazar and Christoph Waltz. That's the person that I was screwing up with. Jennifer Connelly, Mahershala Ali, and others. And others.
Yes, sir.
If we just go through the film, the cast.
Yeah.
Those were top billed. So, have
also
you ever seen
James
this one,
Cameron influence?
James Cameron.
A lot of James Cameron influence.
Yeah, a lot of James Cameron, because there was a Terminator in there.
So I mean, he wrote it.
Right?
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So had you seen this one before, Brian?
No, this is the first time for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get your take.
Not me doing a first timer for Brian. I never did that before. Brian's always like, "Yeah, I've seen it."
Yeah.
What's next? Yeah, I got it. I got this steelbook. It's fine.
Yeah,
I have it on steelbook. I'm waiting on the 4K.
I kind of dismissed this movie when it first came out. I was like, I don't know. It didn't look. I don't know, just like, and it could just be the trailers and the way it was marketed. It just didn't feel, like that, like a film for me. And like I love Robert Rodriguez, but like some of his stuff just like wasn't like, I mean, so it kind of just fell off for me. Some of the things he's done. I mean, I'm not into like what is it?
Spy Kids?
Shark Boy. Yeah, the Spy Kids stuff.
Spy
Shark
Kids.
Boy and Lava Girl and like all that kind of stuff, but
well, what about the El Mariachi trilogy?
Oh yeah, no, I love that. Like that. I mean, that's what everyone got into Robert Rodriguez was from those and Desperado, and
then he was like, "Let's make kids films. I got kids."
Yeah, exactly. Then he's like jumped into a bunch of kids stuff, and like Sin City was really great, So, I feel like he took a lot from Sin City, like what he learned there, and applied it to this stuff. I also feel like this stuff was like a test bed for James Cameron. So I think there's a lot of technology used in this film that James Cameron was like testing out and then later applied to like Avatar type stuff. But I like had a lot of fun with this movie. I was like really blown away by, I mean, a lot of the whole film's visual effects. Let's just be honest. It's like,
absolutely.
I mean, I don't know what's actually like a set and what's like,
right. You can't blink
real, like, so I'm just going to assume it was, I mean, it's heavily CGI. But the stuff they did like on, Alita, I mean, because that actress looks nothing like that. You know what I mean? Like the actual actress who plays her, like the stuff they did is just really incredible. And it was just like another dystopian kind of like far-fetched dystopian kind of thing. I like the concept of like, like there's this whole world of like, we're kind of enhancing ourselves with, biotech or like cybernetics and stuff like that, and so some characters are full on cyborgs, like Alita is like pretty much a full on cyborg. And then some people are just like enhanced, like just have like an arm or something like that. That's, and then there's like regular
like
humans.
Nurse, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just kind of a crazy world to see, which I think is like not too far-fetched now that I think about it, because like a lot of that world is like,
it's people, we got people with cybernetics, we got people
people are trying to or want to enhance themselves,
like robotic arms or legs and stuff like that,
so I will say there's like one thing that I like, it's not really a nitpicky thing for me, but I had a hard time, and just like everything that took me out was anything with what's that character's name?
Zalem. From a
Hugo.
Hugo.
No, Hugo.
Hugo, gotcha.
Yeah,
oh, the kid.
Yeah. I was like, I didn't really feel this whole like. I mean, she was like really into him, and I was like, you're way too into this guy, like for what he's done, and like he is not worth this
he
stuff.
Saved you in the street one time.
Exactly. Like, come on. I mean, and yeah. So it was like that part was hard for me to like. I was kind of like, no, let him die. It's fine. Like, so I didn't really feel it. So I did like the way it ended too, where it's like, oh, okay, so we could totally. I mean, it's totally
wide
open for for all kinds of stuff. But
that's weird because that's the reason it annoys me is why it's left wide open.
Oh, right.
So we'll get into that.
I kind of like that. Yeah. I can see why. Yeah, I mean, I can see it too the other way.
Well, the movie didn't do well, so I don't know if we're going to get a sequel.
No.
So
right, I know.
I'm like, ugh, okay.
Yeah, but it's a cult. But it's a cult classic that people have been like. I think it's turning into a cult classic that people have been like. I want a second one. Like people have been pushing for it. And think about it. We got a second Constantine after how many years? That's a possibility.
That's true. I mean, they made it a second Zoolander and a second Super Troopers.
Another Spaceballs is coming out, man. Never say die, man. Never say die.
Give it 30 years.
Come on.
Alita
with some
nursing home angel.
Yeah, nursing home angel. Yeah.
Remember, she doesn't age. She's
no, I know, but she would have to hang out with all the humans she liked that are.
Oh, they dead.
Or,
30 years, they gone.
Yeah.
Right.
But
yeah, it gets a decent rating, 3.2 out of 5 on Letterboxd. That's not bad. Not bad at all.
Snitty, what you think?
I appreciate the lead in. I have seen this twice now. The first time I watched it, I felt like I had to slog through it a little bit, and I think a lot of that was just it might be the Hugo of it all. You're not wrong there.
That's hilarious.
And a little bit of the uncanny valley with Alita was hard for me to some degree. This time I let all of that go because I think she does a really good job. And what's great is that when you see these other Ohm technology critters from back in the day, 300 years ago, they all look very similar. But if you notice that the one that she keeps like tapping back into in her memory is Michelle Rodriguez, and you can sense it by looking at the character they made just slightly. So there's a little element of the actors within these
exactly
characters.
It's mocap,
right, but it's not Jar Jar where it's nothing like the person. It's still a little hint. Sean Connery from Dragonheart ish, where you can tell that it's the actor.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that film. Sorry, go ahead.
That film.
I cried so hard on that film when I was a kid. I didn't know what was going on.
It deserved it. It was a good film.
It's pretty great.
And it was a huge leap forward with CGI technology. But I any film about dystopian futures is going to catch my attention again. Just like Children of Men, there's a lot of parallels here. But there's also parallels with a lot of other dystopian sci-fi. My wife was telling me about a movie called The Platform, where they start out at the top of the platform where everybody's rich and they get all the supplies and the food, and then that food falls through until you get to the bottom, which they quite literally do in this, where they show you down below where all the junk used to go. Where James Earl Ray, not James Earl Ray, what is his name?
Jackie Earl Haley.
Jackie Earl Haley, thank you. James Earl Ray is a totally different person you should not look up, who's a terrible human. So sorry, Jackie, that was not intentional. But his character, which is great because he's a tiny guy, but he plays the biggest character in the movie, which I think is really, really fun.
Was that who he played? I was like,
yes.
I saw his name in the credits. I'm like, who the hell? Like, I totally didn't even see Jackie Earl Haley anywhere, or James Earl Grey. I don't see either one of those guys.
Gruishka is the character's name.
Gruishka.
Which I loved this, hulking dude running around. I love the kind of, it was a little world building. I think another movie would really help us with that. But we get to see that there's these factions that, go out and bounty hunt, and there's these warriors that are designed to be bounty hunters, and there's a code and all this great stuff. I think that it felt a little Elysium as well. The idea of this, there's a platform of the elite above you, and you're literally just taking their trash and doing what you're going to do with it. I don't know. It's fun. It's exciting. It has some really great action. I mean, as far as some of these fight scenes are really good, and you're definitely cheering for a leader. You're like, yes, get them, get those sons of bitches. I like the murder ball, or is that what they called it?
Motorball.
Motorball. Might as well be called murder ball.
I mean, absolutely, especially when she's up there. Yeah.
Right. All that was great. Christoph Waltz.
Come on.
Do what you want. Make as many movies as you want. I love you. Jennifer Connelly felt a little flat in this for me.
A little bit. Yeah.
Compared to everything I've seen her do. I was like, okay. And then
Mahershala.
I don't know. And yeah, he was a little flat. He did pretty good switching between like when he was possessed and when he was not. He did pretty good with that. But overall, I think it's definitely, if you're into sci-fi at all, like, please do give this movie a try.
Kind of see Mahershala in some Blade-ish in this, like, yeah, I can see it even more. Like,
absolutely.
And that was around the time they started talking about casting him. So maybe this movie.
When she got into like the car and you saw him like in the glasses with the, I was like, that's Blade. That's the Blade right there.
I know, man. Yeah.
So Lala, why did you pick Alita Battle Angel? Obviously you'd seen it before. So what was your reasoning and what do you think?
I picked this film because I like it.
That is a solid reason.
What?
How could you get?
We like movies here?
Weird.
How's that possible?
I like it because I feel like it's a fun film. Sometimes I just like fun films. I just wanted something that we could have just watched and just, it's actiony. It has a little heart to it, a little romance.
She pulls her heart out. I see what you mean.
Yeah, it's just
there
you go.
It's just like, to me, it's just a fun little ride. Plus, I love like it's women led. Rosa Salazar is the lead of this. You can see James Cameron's influence in this, and I do like James Cameron as a director and as a writer. So like, I like to see, even like sometimes as an executive producer, he works pretty well too. So like, just to see kind of like what he kind of like brings in. I just think it's a fun story. It's because like I said, I love my world building. I love my lore. This is very big on the world building scale because it's so much more in this world that you can like ask questions about and wonder about, like, how does Zalem become Zalem? Why did they want to destroy it? Is it like I mean, you could know why, because it's fascist, like it's crazy, like, but it's just like, it's just to like learn these things, like where did like the berserker like kind of people come from, like how did they become.
I'm sorry, every time I hear the word berserker, I think of Clerks. Berserker, like no, that the Russian guy.
The berserker. That's right. Yeah. I was thinking like the fight move from totally. Berserker.
No, that's Mallrats. I think when berserker. That's Mallrats.
No. The Clerks has the guy that comes up and harasses Jay and Bob.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he has like this thick Russian accent, and and they make him go do berserker.
See, I think of D&D because there's berserkers in D&D, but that's
right. Gotcha.
Where my brain goes. Yeah.
So funny.
Anyway. Nerds.
I know.
I dig it though. Come on, push your glasses. We all got glasses on.
Yeah, that's right.
We are. We're all wearing glasses.
We're berserkers. But no, I just think this is a fun film. I love the action in it. I love because I've seen behind the scenes things, and I do implore anybody to go on YouTube and look for the behind the scenes, or if you have a copy of it, go look to see if there's extras or features, because watching her in the mocap and watching them kind of like play this out, because essentially it was all pretty much CGI. So Brian, you're right. So like, like they were working around like, like they were like on a sound stage and they're like working around these things. So it was just, I love seeing the behind the scenes stuff of like that to see the, to see the finished product. So to me, that's just like fun to watch. And it just makes me immersed in the world a little bit more, because I feel like I'm in on the gag of the film, to be like, I know how I saw this happen. I know how this happened, and that felt good. But I just like that it's like a simple story of like a girl that just happens to pop up in this world with no memory. It's the classic, like, no memory, having to relearn yourself. But now she's two sides of herself in a sense. Like, she's like the Alita that was like this kind of like new naive type of girl exploring this new world. And then now she's like Alita Battle Angel. Like, she's like this, this like new, like an improved, like she kind of remembers her life a little bit, like there's fragments coming back, but then she's meshing them together to become who she wants to be and not who everybody is trying to make her to be. Because like the chick that was training her was kind of putting her to be a person, and then he was trying to change her into his daughter, and she kind of took elements from both and became herself. So I just thought that was like a fun like story, but then add in all the action, add in like, you know, like I really don't think this film took itself seriously, because like it hit beats where I felt like films hit that was just like funny to me, like when she was in like the what are they called? They're called like hunters or whatever.
Hunter Warrior bar.
Hunter Warrior. Yeah, when she was in that bar and she's and she's in her jacket and she's making the hero speech, like, who's gonna ride out with me? And everybody like, girl, this ain't what you
just walking to a Wild West bar and expect to go fight
like,
with you.
It felt like it felt like they were like spoofing those elements a little bit in the film, and like that was kind of fun because everybody was like, girl, and then when she was kicking butt, that was good. Like to see it, I don't know, it just felt like this is not perfect by any chance, but I just felt like it was a fun ride. I feel like, and I love Robert Rodriguez. I love him as like a director, as a writer. I think that he does some interesting things that like people just don't do. Like I feel like he has fun when he makes things, and I can see the fun in it, and it makes me enjoy.
Even his filmography speaks to that, because like Spies, going from Desperado to Spy Kids, back to The Faculty, then over to From Dusk Till Dawn. Like he bounces all over the place.
And
he's
then,
very kind of Ridley Scott in that way.
Like the Grindhouse films where he did,
the Grindhouse films. He did Planet Terror.
Planet Terror, right? Yeah, he did a Planet Terror, and that's like great and fun. So like, just seeing this for him, but I love seeing like a T-1000, I think, in the film when she goes to like put her bounty up, the little head. I mean, he goes to put the bounty up, the little head that comes up is a Terminator, and I was like, there go James Cameron. Had the eyes and everything. I was like, look at that there. I was like, so to me, this could be like a continuation of like the world after the Terminators have taken over, and maybe Zalem has like taken back some type of control, because there's so many.
That's where the Terminators live, is in Zalem.
Yeah,
it could be, because that's where, or like the humans have evolved enough to kind of like become one with them, because look at all the robot parts. That's just all the like cybernetics, that's there.
I'm surprised they didn't get into like people that like built robots for other, like there's no robots in this movie, which is weird, other than the big walker
like full
guys.
On robot.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like I expect it to be like, instead of androids, like androids instead of cyborgs.
Well, think about it though. All of the smart, talented people are in Zalem. They put all the ones.
But you look at the doc. He came down from there, and he built.
Because he left. Like he left. Like he doesn't get discarded or like born. Some people are born there. He decided that whatever that was up there wasn't conducive, and he wanted to come down and like help his people. Now, if he's opened up a shop and start training people, because think about it, when he walked into the bar and he was like, no more free repairs, and everybody was
like, oh shit, which means everybody there.
Everybody, like, he's the one that. So like, I don't know. I just felt like this was like a really fun film, and I also like the scene where she's like half a body and she still beats him,
fighting with one
arm.
I just like,
and then rip her own arm off to catch
this. She was like, "Fuck your mercy." I was like,
that was the only one that could get in a PG-13, of course.
Yes, but I loved it because it hit really good. I was like,
anybody catch Jeff Fahey in the movie?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
As the dog. Dog bounty hunter.
Oh yeah. I love him.
Yeah. I just don't see him in movies anymore. Like he used to be in movies.
I mean, he was in Planet Terror. He was in Planet Terror.
Yeah, he pops up here and there, but like he hasn't done the lead role like he did back in the 80s and 90s, which is weird.
He's like, I'm good.
Ed Norton.
I'll just pop in. Ed Norton
for no reason.
Ed Norton in there.
Which means that we probably wouldn't see Ed Norton as the bad guy in a sequel, because he's probably like, no, it's been 7 years. I don't care. I'm good.
Also, okay, I just want to say this real quick. The Hugo of it all. Let's just talk about Hugo for a second. The Hugo.
Sure. I know y'all, Johnson.
Yes, I know y'all got some issues with Hugo, which listen, valid issues. Valid. Okay, let me just put that out there. Valid issues.
Mean,
but also, I just want to say these are kids, and essentially Alita is like 1,000 years old, but she still has like the brain of a kid, like her brain restarted a little bit, and so I feel like I like the fact that like their relationship wasn't like the main focal point of it. I like that it pushed her along, and it showed her that like even people that she care about are a little dirty. You know what I mean? Like even people that she feels she can trust got secrets. Like, cause she's learning the world as it is now, not how it was or the people that she was with.
Yeah.
So I do feel like him saying that he loved her was kind of quick. I will
but
I
kids
mean,
do that. Teenagers fall in love in a
that
heartbeat.
teenage kind of love.
But also when you kind of survive death together, I think I do love you. You know what I mean? Like you connected me to your heart and kept me alive. I think I do love you, babe. So like I
mean, he had to have his head cut off. Like there's a lot of trauma there. Can we talk about Ed Skrein for a minute?
I love him.
That dude is menacing just being on screen. Like I bought him as this sword wielding
he plays a douchebag very well. I felt like this was his character from Deadpool, just like
but like amped up in cyborg, right?
With sword. And remember, he did have like a he had like super strength. I think he couldn't feel anything, his nerve endings and stuff like that. So, So to have him kind of be the same character but not in this, I think he did
right.
He's going to be in Rebirth. I didn't realize that. He's going to be in Jurassic World.
Ooh, nice.
So, that'll be interesting.
Also, Aina said that it seems they are working on a sequel. And it seems that James Cameron has said that he's working on a sequel, possibly more than one.
For Alita?
Yes.
Okay. And yes, that hasn't been mentioned. This was based on a manga series. So it's interesting to see a manga series. And that's why there's a definite like anime-ish.
For sure,
especially to Alita.
Like because her eyes are big, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So
it's and then of course it's just interesting to see a Hispanic director adapting a Japanese manga to an American audience is like a really fun blend of ideas.
Yeah.
I love that stuff when you get that much difference in concepts kind of blended together. It can be very cool.
I just like that they decided to do something different. In a way, like this is a different looking type of film. I mean, it still has like the dystopian sci-fi beats, but it's still like a different look, a different feel to it, a different world, different rules. And I find that I find that fun, you know, because like the dystopian thing can be a little overdone, and it could be like, all right, people more. We get it.
That's like saying that in fantasy there's too many critters and farts. Like I don't know. I don't agree. Dystopian is like a must-have in some form of sci-fi. Not in every single sci-fi, but it's like a backbone to sci-fi.
No, but what I'm saying is that dystopia can get too like similar.
Oh well, I mean,
that's
unfortunately,
what I'm saying. Like it can be like, okay, we get it. Like we get it. Everybody's
because
like,
fascism is boring.
When we're in the year 2055, 2155, everybody's dead, and then like the world is just trash. We get it. Like what's new? About, you know what I'm saying?
This is why you got to watch Waterworld, because it like twists that same idea, but like takes it in a different direction. I'm sorry.
Nice.
I'd be a dork.
I actually liked Waterworld.
I did too. It flopped really hard, but I loved it.
I know. It was like the most expensive movie ever made at the time.
Those are like the best.
Yeah, and there was some controversy with the trash that left in the ocean. Definitely some bad things there. There was one other thing I was going to say, but I totally forgot what it was. It's okay. If I remember, I'll tell you. But any other thoughts on Alita Battle Angel? Would you ever go play Motorball if you were a cyborg?
I mean, if I was that good.
If I had the skills, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. But
absolutely.
But that's true for anything. If I had the skills, I'd go play NBA. Like
Yeah, if I had the skills.
I mean, but it seemed like Alita was like
right
for it.
I mean, Alita was like pretty like right away, kind of.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's her training though. That kind of makes her kick in. I ain't got none of that. I'm gonna be like,
having nanotech body means you can kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Now I want a nanotech body. Man, that sounds nice.
Also, can I say the scene where like Ed Skrein character, Skrein, I don't know how you pronounce the last name, but like when he comes in and he's about to kill Hugo because he's mad at Alita. One, I need people to stop doing that. Stop coming after me because this girl hurt your feelings or whatever. Go after her. I just stood there, bro. I didn't go kill her.
He got framed and then killed
by proxy.
You feel me? Like I'm about to die by proxy. I don't like stuff like that. For one. But two, I do like the combination of when his friend tried to help him and he got kicked back and then sliced in half at the same time. I was like, woo, buddy. I said, woo, baby, that's a crazy way to die. But it was pretty cool to see on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy as that.
I keep trying to think of what I was trying to say, and it's not coming to me, so that's going to drive me nuts. Any word on the sequel? Because I kind of want to see it. I think it'd be fun to see it.
So I doubt it's coming out.
We'll get 3 avatars before we get the sequel to this. That's more likely.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, well, then I guess if we have no more to say about Alita Battle Angel, then we're going to rate this movie and we'll wrap up for this week. It is Juneteenth coming up this week, and so I think we're going to be doing a Juneteenth episode next Sunday. I'm not 100% on the movies yet. Janine was talking about a few movies, but Sinners might have been one of them. And then I wasn't sure if it was The Blackening was the other one, or if it was a different movie, or even Horror Noir, the documentary about Black horror was another possible thrown around. So we'll see. But before we get to those, Brian, what do you rate Alita?
I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
I like it. How about you, Lon?
If the Hugo thing would have been a little better, it probably would have got a higher rating. Yeah.
That's fair. So any other actor in that position might have made it an 8 or 9.
Well, not necessarily the actor, just that whole story.
The story.
That whole part of the like just didn't work for me. Yeah.
That's fair. Lala?
I'll give it an 8.5. I enjoy this film. I watch it often. So yeah.
Nice. All right. I gave it a 7 the first time I watched it. I think that bumps to a 7.5. I'm going to agree with Brian.
Come on,
0.5. I liked it more the second time around. So this is one of those ones that you almost want to digest. Much like we were talking about with Children of Men, there's a lot of background stuff, a lot of fun with the technology to look at.
Yeah, true.
There's a lot of eye candy in this movie, if you will.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
So check that out. Oh, I do remember what I wanted to say.
Come on.
Without Jar Jar Binks, we don't have Alita Battle Angel. I just want to give Jar Jar his just due.
Yeah.
At best, his just due.
That's
as much as you can hate that character. Without him,
we wouldn't have a lot.
We wouldn't have Avatar. We wouldn't have most of these things. So
sure.
Just saying. Just putting it out there. I've been watching Light and Magic like way too much.
That's good.
So
I love that.
So good.
Yeah. Light and Magic's great.
I can't get enough Star Wars lately. So, all right. That means that we are at the end of today's episode. So that means this is the end of episode 33 of season 4. We really appreciate you guys stopping by. Don't hesitate to follow us on everything.
All the things.
And give us some movie recommendations.
And we have our togethers. And follow us on all.
100%. Thank you guys for stopping by. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, everyone.